night, Ernest. How are you?
Fine, just fine. First thing I want to mention,
Yes.
this is not a cookbook.
Okay, that's
I've
important.
had several opinions that they thought, by looking at the cover,
Okay.
it was a cookbook. This is not a cookbook.
Okay. Well, not now that you told us what is not about this book, please tell me what
Th-
is this book about?
This is about my some of my experiences as a mechanic from from my time in the Air Force till through Vietnam, through the airlines, and I learned a lot. I'm always learning, and even when I'm retired, uh, I never stop learning.
Okay. You had a 60 years long career as an aircraft mechanic. Uh, you started in the Air Force.
Well,
And
I started
Mhm.
before the Air Force. I got a ride with a friend of mine's home built airplane, and that was the beginning of it. My
Okay.
love for airplanes and flying, and I never flew. I never piloted an airplane. I was always working on them,
Mhm.
and I learned a lot. And this was the beginning. And then the Air Force was training.
Mhm.
I learned more about jet engines than I did about a car, which is really strange.
Okay.
And from there, that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my working life, was work on airplanes.
So, Ernest, tell us which is the main difference between the military aircraft and a commercial airplane?
The military airplanes have a specific purpose, hauling cargo maybe, or attacking the enemy, guns, rockets, and the airline aircraft are strictly for hauling people and cargo,
Okay.
long distances, clear across the world, and that's basically the difference. Besides the size,
Okay. Uh, but in both contexts, you work, I guess, under a lot of pressure. But how is it different to work with?
okay, military aircraft, you need to fix them, or there are serious consequences. With commercial airliners, it's all about money.
Okay.
When the airplane flies, it makes money. When it sits on the ground, it doesn't. So they don't want it on the ground any longer than they have to. So it's on us to take care of any problem as fast as we can. So the incentive is there, but different.
Okay. Uh, where did you enjoy more working with the military or commercial airplanes?
Commercial.
Okay. Which was the most memorable experience you had with the
Uh,
commercial airplanes?
that's the big question.
Okay.
The most memorable was probably a close call. We were trying to move an aircraft across the runway, towing it, and the tow truck didn't work. So and we had airplanes coming in for a landing on our runway, and so we had the incentive plan of getting off that runway, and I had to start up number two engine on a DC-10, which is a three-engine aircraft, and push the tow the tug across the runway because he couldn't pull us, and that was no big thing unless you get crooked.
Okay.
The tug, the tow bar, and the airplane, they got to be on the straight line. And if we got a little bit crooked, we were jackknifed and we would been blocked off the runway, and we'd have much bigger problems.
Okay.
But nothing happened. It was a close call, but I remember that one.
Okay. But I think this book is not about airplanes, but about the experience uh, you 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 get here and how this apply to life. So how does this relates with the title of your book?
these things that I went through, people would not hear about. They wouldn't know about it. They only care about flying the airplane, and that's all they know. But the people on the ground that are working on the airplanes, they go through a lot of different things, experiences, hazard, to keep these airplanes flying. Uh, Most of the maintenance on an airplane is preventative maintenance. That means lube it up, inspect it, uh, take care of things on a regular basis, as scheduled. And then 5% of maintenance is done by our unscheduled. That's when things break. That's when you run into things, or the engine stops working. You know, things break, and then we got to fix it. And remember, I told you the time constraint. We had to get this done as fast as possible, because with the airlines, it's all about money, and with us, it's hurry up now. They want it done yesterday. And most of my other experiences were based on the environment of what we worked at. Like not being, you lose your hearing a little bit every year, and people react to that, and they don't respond when you talk to them right away. And you meet different people on and off the airplane, around the airplane, and we learn to appreciate working on mechanical things rather than dealing with people. Airplanes are more interesting.
Okay. People in ground risk their life so people in the airplane can be on time safely. This is the main job.
This is another thing. People that hire on with the airlines, if they don't know anything, it's very dangerous for them, because you can get hurt 50 different ways out there. And I can go through, my book describes several incidents that happened when people weren't paying attention, or they didn't know. And I won't go into that. I recommend reading the book. There's a lot of stories in there that if you read about them and you think about getting in the industry, it might save you a lot of aches and pains, because you heard about it. This is something to look at. Most people don't realize that a jet engine that I was working around, the big ones, they will get you quicker than you realize. And I watched one guy almost get eaten by an engine, because he didn't, he wasn't thinking. And he walked towards the side of the engine, and we were running it, and he turned right, and he got hit with the exhaust and woke him up. If he'd have turned left, he'd have been dead. And I'm on the headset, ready to yell at him to shut the engine down. But I was a little bit slow, and it was that close.
Okay.
And there are many incidents like that. And this is something that most people don't think about. It's just working on airplanes. There's a lot to it.
Well, it's reading this book, people will get the idea, or will realize that there are many technicians around an airplane, so they can fly safely. But which was the most iconic airplane that you worked with?
The military C-130, it's a 4-engine cargo plane that I personally think was not designed for human maintenance.
Okay.
I mean, the engineers, they come up with stuff, but they never worked on the airplane. We, as mechanics, have to deal with a part that was never designed to be replaced.
Okay.
And that's a problem. And sometimes we had to take a lot of parts off to just get at the part we're fixing. And then they want it done now. Hurry. And according to the book, they show a picture of the part, no problema. But on the airplane, it's never like that. It's always covered with stuff. And this is a big problem in the whole airplane. There are many, many examples of that nobody thinks about it unless they have to work on it. And then you think about it.
Okay.
Then, oh man. So I learned a lot. It's not in the books, and most people have to learn the hard way, and they don't want to be told. So I don't try to educate anybody unless they directly ask me. Then I tell them, this is what I ran into. This is how it's done.
Okay. For all the people that is interested in this and reading this book, what can you tell them? What will they get after reading this book?
Well, I have a lot of confidence with airplanes because, like you said before, many people look at the airplane. It's inspected all the time. Anytime it's on the ground, people are looking at it and checking things. And parts are changed even before they break. In other words, after so many hours of flights, change this part. Okay? That's preventive maintenance. And this makes an airplane last a long time. I wish my car was taken care of as well as an airplane. It would never wear out. And this is something that nobody knows about or thinks about. They just pay their money, get on the airplane, and go. But everything in between is a big thing.
Okay.
And as the end result, I think it's safer to fly on an airplane anywhere than it is to drive on the freeways.
Okay. And also, this book is written in 2 languages, right?
Yes,
Okay.
originally I came up with in English, of course.
Okay.
I'm from the United States, but I realized that people in Mexico might find it interesting.
Okay.
And I'm thinking of the younger people in school that would find it interesting and maybe think about a career. And in both languages, it might make it easier to learn
Okay.
English. Here, they all speak Spanish, and I need to do the same thing, but just in reverse.
Okay.
I lived in Los Angeles all my life. I didn't have to learn Spanish.
Okay.
Now I live in Mexico.
Okay.
I have to learn Spanish.
Okay.
So that's the reason I came up with both languages, and it's educational also. You hear about things that you never thought about before. Every type of career has its own knowledge, expressions, and things that are necessary to know. And in the aviation industry is the same. And so these people are going to learn the idea of different parts of the airplane, maybe it only as part of a story. I'm not trying to teach people how to fly or tell them all about airplanes. No, that's not my purpose is to relate all of my, or most of my experiences
Okay.
that I had. And I started this over 50 years ago.
Okay.
So I wanted to write it down and put it in print and share it with people later on.
Okay. Well, that's good. Is there anything else you want to add to this interview? Tell to the people.
Well, if you're thinking about a career in the aviation industry, not necessarily flying, I would recommend reading this book and then choose. If you want to be a mechanic,
Okay.
I think this is very important.
Okay.
There's a lot of hard-earned knowledge here, and I learned a lot of things the hard way, also.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ernest. Okay.